Hello, good morning. Well, it's 9:05 in the morning here in England, and I trust that you are doing okay wherever you live. Now then, I was thinking this morning, it's all very well if you're 100% fit, 100% healthy, having a lovely, comfortable life of it, but how many people can say that about themselves? I don't think any of us can really at any one time. And I thought, how do we actually find that inspiration, that impetus to keep going when all sorts of other circumstances and conditions militate against that? And over the years, I've had many ups and downs myself, because we all do. And I thought to myself, how do I keep going? How did I keep going? And of course, in common with everybody else, I've had to find some kind of inner resource, something outside of myself to hold on to and get that inspiration to keep going and keep moving forward. And of course, the best thing of all that is to try and keep optimistic and hopeful that things will get better. And all of us who are here right now, this minute, are living proof that things do get better, that we do get through stuff, because everybody has all sorts of difficulties that they've overcome already in order to get this far. Well, as for inspiration, I got mine this morning because I decided I would look up a little bit about this A.J. Russell guy, A.J. Russell on the front of that, who compiled and got together this lovely book that we all like so much called God Calling, which is a devotional, it's an inspirational messages book, communication that was given to two women in the 19th century, and wonderfully uplifting and inspiring messages they were to communications. And there, of course, as we know, there's one for every day of the week, every month, and we can look at those each day, and they are, I would suggest, an adjunct to any other reading that we may do and any other thoughts that we may have. But somebody, well, a lot of people actually, but one of those people who are against us being spiritualists and having communication with spirit and stuff like that, a Bachelor of Science, no less, theology, an ordained minister of a Christian church, and he's written apparently lots of books, and he decided to write a book having a go at this one. And I saw that in my, I said to you, I was looking up this guy, A.J. Russell, and it came up with this guy having a go at him at the book, God Calling. And he's actually written a whole book about it. And it directed me to Amazon, and I had a look inside it, as it invited me to. And he was going on alarming. They put themselves above God, above Jesus. They put themselves above the prophets. They are saying that Jesus spoke to them, the Lord spoke to them, and basically he was saying that can't happen. That Jesus doesn't speak to anybody. The Lord doesn't speak to anybody. And of course, if you watch any of those evangelical channels, all their evangelical ministers are striding about their platforms, telling everybody that the Lord spoke to them that day. And he's not having a go at that. And no doubt when he's in his own pulpit, if he occupies one, he would be saying similar things. Or maybe not. Maybe he, like so many others, preaches that all revelation stopped when the Bible stopped, when the writings in the Bible stopped. And of course, we know that's not true. We are given revelation every day. It's wonderful, new revelations. And all we need, as Jesus himself said, the ears to hear and the eyes to see. And he was talking, of course, about a virtual reality, if you like, where we hear and see with our etheric spirit body, not with our human physical body, earthly body, I should say, human, okay. We remain human, even in the next life, or more so perhaps. We become perfect humans, as perfect as possible as we can. Now, so I thought that I found that very inspiring, because what happened, yeah, I'm reading all this stuff, this guy's going on, and I'm thinking, gracious me, how awful. And then good old Amazon, I know that some people don't like it for various reasons, and we won't go into that. But you know, this is not a political platform, or, you know, to give those kinds of reviews and so on. However, the page on which it promotes his book, you know, which I can't remember the name of it now, but it's that some sort of having a go at God calling, and I can't even remember his name, fortunately. And underneath that it says, people who bought this book also bought this one. And guess what it was? God calling. So his whole polemic, having a go at God calling, has only served to actually sell more copies. So more people will get those wonderful messages and communications for themselves through those two wonderful women who wanted to remain anonymous and have done so over the years since. And the good offices of AJ Russell, who put it all together and promoted them. Promoted the inspirational thoughts of these women receiving those messages. So there you are, you see. So that's what inspired me to have a chat this morning, because I thought that gave me such a laugh, because I was so cross when I read all his stuff. And then when I saw people who bought this book also bought, and there it was, God calling, with all the details for people could buy it. I thought that was wonderful. So there we are. And by the way, of course, I do not get a commission for promoting anybody's book, or even, I can't say my own, because when you purchase my one, which of course, as we know, or you may not know if you're new to this lark, this is the Spiritualist Handbook. Now, I was actually guest to this walk for many, many, many years, until I got married again to Kathy, and we double-barreled our names, as so many people do these days, and I became Gibb-de there. So I now have a link to Scotland. And talking about that, I've recently found out that I have links to Ireland as well, in my personal DNA. And that's something else, isn't it? You know, our DNA governs the kind of people we are, in the physical sense, but I also believe that it links us to our spiritual self as well, because our spirits are within that physicality that is our DNA. And I think that there has got to be a spirit DNA as well as a physical DNA, because we're always saying that there is an etheric duplicate of everything that is here on the earth plane, in the heavenly realms, in the spirit dimensions. And if there is that duplicate, then it isn't just a body that you can see duplicate. It is everything that goes to making up that body and that mind, and we're talking DNA here. So in fact, that double helix, that DNA, is also a spirit DNA, and that gives you, or gives me, a great food for thought. Now, as I say, I wanted to think to myself, how do we actually keep ourselves moving forward in difficult times. And oh wow, I see that Nicola has joined me, and I'll show you on there, Nicola. There you are. To see, I have got a friend, Nicola. Yes, well, I'm much better this morning than I was yesterday morning, you see, because yesterday I was suffering greatly with pains in my arms and the whole thing because, I had this breast cancer and I had a mastectomy and last year and, I recovered greatly from that. But there are all these other sort of side effects that affect one. And yesterday particularly, my arm was really achy and stuff like that. I just thought, oh, well, it's just one of those things. But it does make you very, very miserable if you're in pain. You try hard to sort of overcome that and be nice to people and stuff. But it's very difficult sometimes, especially when you get sort of locked into this sort of poor me kind of syndrome, which is it's understandable, I think, for all of us. We feel sorry for ourselves. And I was feeling sorry for myself yesterday, but I knew that I was receiving healing, and I asked, of course, for myself as well. And this morning it's nothing like as bad, and I was absolutely thankful for that. So you see, this is how we move forward, and as we always say, sic transit gloria mundi, thus passeth the glory of the world. Well, it also passeth the pain of the world too. Now, I thought that inspiration is something that we all need to find. How do we find that? I find it by looking around and seeing the wonders of nature. I love the little birds that come into our garden to feed. I love our doggies, of course, so that goes without saying. But, looking at the flowers, having the lovely smells of flowers and things like that. They're all inspirational things. And, if we try and look at things with the eyes and mind and hear with the ears of a child, as Jesus told us, to be like children, it's actually to put away from yourself all the sort of grown-up stuff that you get lumbered with, and go back to that childish and new feeling about everything. Everything that you see is fresh and new, and try and rediscover that. And it does help you, and it does give you that bit of inspiration. Of course, the other way of getting inspiration, as I've always said, is to get hold of a book and get a message from it. I ought to say, of course, that getting messages from mediums and psychics is good as well. But that you have to be careful and discern what you're being told and what you're given for yourself, because you have that personal responsibility and you have the choice whether to accept what you hear and see or not. Now then, I talked about the God Calling book, and I suppose it would be nice if we got a message from that. Oh, Candace. Oh, hello. Oh, Candace. Now, Candace Morris is a wonderful hairdresser, and she did my hair for some years when we were living on the coast. And they have a salon called Buzz in Bexhill, and that was where I went. And Candace has absolutely blossomed over the years that I've been watching, and of course now only on Facebook. But I'm glad that you like the hairdo a la Erica Urbonien, who does my hair, bless her, and did it last week. Thank you. And it doesn't matter how old you get, you should really find that inspiration to try and keep yourself reasonably looking okay as best you can. And, you have to overcome difficulties that you might have, and like I've had 2 broken noses, and it's still, wonky, if you want to care to look at that. There was a poor surgeon. He had to have a camera up my nose a couple of years ago to see what was going on. And it was a bit ouchifying, this bit. And when he'd taken the camera down, I said to him, oh, sorry about that, I said, but, you know, my nose is broken if you look. And he said, yes, I have seen it. And of course, he'd seen it from the inside. What an idiot I am. He said, there's a whole shard of bone right across there. Oh, dear, okay. So no wonder it hurt a bit. But yeah, so I've had that, and I've had other things like this big operation to dig this big tumour out of the side of my face. You are, see, a bit missing there. So it was all a bit wonky. And but nevertheless, you know, a little bit of you know, TLC on the old Barnet, and I find a smile banishes wrinkles very well. So there we are. So yes, I think you know, we get inspired to do stuff like that, really, because it's good. We have to respect other people as well, I think, and by trying to keep ourselves looking reasonably okay, we're telling other people that we respect their view of life as well, and that we respect their view of us. Now, let's have a look then. I was about to give you an inspiring message from this. Oh dear, it wants to open straight away. And it says, souls that smile. To conquer adverse circumstances, there we are, conquer yourselves. The answer to the desire of my disciples to follow me, there we are, wow. I bet that gets right up that bloke's nose. To follow me was, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father who is in heaven is perfect. To accomplish much, be much. In all cases, the doing, to be well doing, must be the mere unconscious expression of the being. Fear not, all is well. Let the day be full of little prayers to me, little turnings towards me, the smiles of the soul at one it loves. Men call the Father the first cause. Yes, see him as the first cause of every warm ray, every colour in the sunset, every gleam on the water, every beautiful flower, every planned pleasure. There. God bless you. There, didn't we get that? We got that message, didn't we? And that miserable what's-it who wrote that miserable book saying that it's all rubbish, basically, and that, you know, at the very best we're devil worshippers and stuff. You know, I think that just says everything, doesn't it? Because on top of that, it just literally mirrors everything that I've just been saying. So obviously there's them over there who are listening to us down here. And you see, the thing is this, what I want to say to you is this: be sure that if I am hearing from them on the other side and getting those things through, then they must be there with you too. And there's nothing spooky or frightening or anti-Christian or anti-Jewish or anti-Muslim or anti-anything about that. The fact is that we are all spiritual beings, and we all owe it to each other to get our inspiration from the natural world around us, because it was given to us for our inspiration, for us to do good with and to do good things with. And, you know, when we look about us and see all the dreadful things that are going on, we mustn't be brought down by that ourselves. We must, of course, you know, acknowledge those awful things and try and do something about it if we can, just some little thing. You know, I know that there are people out there doing great works now to try and make this world a better place, and more power to their elbow, and our prayers are with them, aren't they? But I hope that this morning's little chat has cheered you and given you a little bit of inspiration. And Nicola, now I don't know if you're the only person watching. What I have found is, you know, everybody, that only a few people will comment, and a few people will like or love or whatever, express some kind of emotion as a little reaction on these videos. And yet when I finish them and I look to see how many people were watching, it's often around, anything from sort of 60 to over 100. So I know that lots of people we are connecting with each other. And Kathy and I held a service once, and only 2 people turned up, but we gave them the best we could. And that 2 people service turned into a huge service every week. And in this way, we reach many more than just 2 people at a time, don't we, all of us? So I'll say God bless you now. I think that I've probably spoken enough for a Tuesday morning. Yes, it is Tuesday. And I wish you the very best. And I hope that you find your inspiration in everything around you, in the little things. And if you feel a bit better soon, because we have been having this conversation, I would be so pleased. And then you can say thank you, to them upstairs and the Great Spirit and the One. I hope that you have a very good day. I decided to have this little chat regardless of anything else, and it wasn't terribly well prepared, as you no doubt realised. It was just because I'd actually seen that awful book written, having a go at our God calling book, that I thought it inspired me to come and have a chat with you right now. So I will also, of course, end in a prayer so that we can all get some healing. Dear Lord, we ask you at this time for healing for ourselves, for healing for all those who are suffering, whether they are sick in mind, body or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them. We ask also at this time, dear Lord, for all the children of this world, that they may be comforted and healed and loved. And we ask also, dear Lord, for all the animals, that they also feel the light of your love, to warm their little spirits, keep them safe. We ask, dear Lord, for love to be placed in the hearts of those who have hate, for light to be placed in the hearts of those who live in darkness, for knowledge to replace ignorance, and for those who feel anger and violence and aggression towards their fellow human beings and their fellow creatures, that they should feel calmness and peacefulness in their souls soon. We ask all this, dear Lord, in love, light and truth. Amen. There. So I say God bless you, and wish you lots of happiness and health, and I'll speak to you again soon. And I'll end the broadcast now.